Hello, I'm Dennis Cruz, host of the Attitude Adjustment Hour. Now, the video footage you're about to witness was taken after a long day of drinking over a 4-day weekend, which was pretty much spent just hopping from bar to bar throughout the Isle of Manhattan. So any slurring, any speech impairment, any kind of fuzziness is due to mass consumption of alcoholic beverages on my part. That said, no cars were driven, public transportation was taken at all time, the mood stayed upbeat and light, thankfully, so no crying jags, no barroom brawls, no kind of laws broken, and no public illness was viewed by anybody in the public. So, for the sake of due diligence, I want to say, remember, always think before you drink, don't drink and drive, and friends don't let friends video drunk. Evidently, that doesn't hold fast to family members because I'll tell you, you're going to see the video footage and they just let the footage roll. So, join me at the historic White Horse Tavern in Greenwich Village in Lower Manhattan on this episode of the Attitude Adjustment Hour. We're in New York City, in Greenwich Village to be exact. And if you're talking about the beat generation, the whole beat scene in the 1950s, there's one place they came, and that's here to the White Horse Tavern. I'm taking you there today on this episode of the Attitude Adjustment Hour. In Lower Manhattan, when you see the iconic arch in Washington Square Park, you know you're there, Greenwich Village. And a few blocks away at the corner of West 11th and Hudson is the one-time heart of all things beatnik, the legendary White Horse Tavern. It's summertime and the living is easy in New York City. Sidewalk cafes, outdoor dining and drinking. When the weather's right, New Yorkers love heading outdoors. But I like my activities indoors. Let's head inside. The old tavern, built in 1880, has white horses everywhere, a really good selection of liquor await, including a nice array of beers on tap, including Newcastle Brown Ale. Okay, in San Francisco, Vesuvia Cafe, where all the beat poets and artists and musicians would hang out on Columbus Avenue, right? The bottom line is, when you came to New York City, you came to Greenwich Village. And where did the writers, artists, poets of the 50s and 60s come in New York? They came right here, White Horse Tavern. This is the spot. This is a great spot here. It's got a great legacy. This bar opened in 1880, but was known more as the Longshoremen's Bar at one point than a literary center until Welsh poet and writer Dylan Thomas and other writers started frequenting it in the 50s. And due to its literary fame, the place has become a real popular destination for anybody that's into poetry, that's into the Bohemian lifestyle, and that's into just a great bar. It's a fantastic bar. The White Horse is perhaps most famous as the place where Dylan Thomas drank before returning home and eventually coming ill, and he died a few days of unrelated causes. In one of his most famous works, Thomas wrote, "Do not go gentle into that good night," but that's kind of what he did in 1953, and his memory lives on here. In fact, his ashes are right above the doorway in the main bar. Even though he was a heavy drinker, he didn't drink himself to death here or anywhere else. He had pneumonia and died of complications from that. So a lot of famous people have been here. We're talking about Bob Dylan, Mary Travis of the Peter, Paul and Mary fame, and all the folk singers, all the great poets of the time, and Jack Kerouac. In fact, Jack Kerouac stayed in an apartment in a building right around the corner And he made the White Horse's New York drinking headquarters, and this dude got 86 on many occasions. In fact, somebody put up some graffiti in the bathroom and it says, "Go home, Jack." They got tired of him. They had to 86 him constantly. Jack was a handful. We're in the Dylan Thomas room right now, and it's just a great bar. Nice bartenders. I heard some negative things about the bartenders. Great bartenders. Good guy named Bob. We've been hanging with him all day. Wonderful guy. He makes a great Bloody Mary. The sign says that no intoxicated persons will be served. Okay, I must have passed the test. So you come to New York, you want to get a good vibe. They got a nice area outside. You can eat and drink. They got good bar food, but they especially got good food. Have yourself a Newcastle Brown Ale. Have yourself a nice bourbon. But bottom line, here's to Dylan Thomas, and here's to the White Horse Tavern. Let's go to them. You come to New York, come on down here. You're gonna love it. You can catch the show either at aahour.com or on Facebook. Look for AA Hour. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm Den Cruz, DENCRUZ, all one word. And I love your feedback and suggestions. Email me at aahour@yahoo.com. So hopefully I've lubricated the thought process for you. I'm Dennis Cruz, and thanks again for joining me on the Attitude Adjustment Hour. Oh yeah.